So the project that I would like to talk to you guys about today is an MES system that we put in for a longstanding partner of ours in the pet food industry. That plant had existing NorthWind controls throughout the entire facility. The project covered the entire process, all areas of the plant from milling and batching to slurry, extrusion, packaging, and palletizing. The goal of our project here was to enable the operations team with the controls we already had in place and a lot of the other software. We were already handing information to the accounting team and to the other executive team and those sorts of business, top level business teams, but the operations team needed some information and easily accessible for them. So the MES project that we did, we approached that with an agile methodology similar to how we develop our software products. We met weekly with the stakeholders to develop scope, and as we created the content, the users had access to that immediately. So they were kind of following along with us as we developed the project. This allowed them to get involved early and start giving feedback and generating ideas. With this agile methodology, it is important for us to be flexible. And like we've talked about before, being able to say yes to the requests that come along the way is important. That's kind of the whole point of the agile methodology that we use. Ignition unlimited licensing obviously supports that very well because we aren't constantly worried about, well, they want to do this. Now I got to bring in another PLC, or I have to bring in another or add another screen or a report. So it's very easy to just say, yes, we can do that. We don't have to go back and revisit licensing costs. During the project, we brought multiple data sources together to help give the operators the insight that they needed without having to go do the work to find it. One example of this that I like to highlight is an inventory report that we put together that pulled the bin levels from the continuous levels on the control system, the density of the material from the ERP system through an API. Then we calculated the inventory in the bin using the volume of the bin and the level, showed that right next to the inventory that we pulled from the ERP system through the API. So they could do their inventory adjustments periodically. All of that replaced the operator having to go fetch all of that data from the different places, put it into a spreadsheet, get the calculation, and then do their inventory adjustment. So just highlights how flexible Ignition is with pulling all those data sources together and presenting it to the operator or to the user quickly. We also wanted to make that data easily accessible, so we didn't want client installs. We wanted everybody that needed the data to be able to access it easily and wherever they wanted to get it from. So TVs, desktop, mobile, wherever they may be working from, we wanted them to be able to get access to that data. And I think Sean mentioned it, as you start putting in some of these systems, it quickly spreads, so people see it, and everybody wants a little piece of that, and they want to see what's going on. They want to have the information at their fingertips. So having that flexibility to roll out additional clients is very nice in those projects. The Ad Hoc Trends, the picture that we're showing there on the right side, or one of the pictures we're showing on the right side, is another tool that enables the operations very quickly or very easily. So they're able to go in and grab any data point off of a PLC or off of, if we're pulling it from a database, or if it's a data point that we're pulling off an API somewhere, they're able to pull that in and look and troubleshoot different issues that they see within the system, or troubleshoot different scenarios that they're trying to hunt down within the system themselves. So they don't have to be in front of the HMI. They can pull up the URL, go to that page, and they can start digging right away. So for the results of that project, we were able to reduce the plant floor paperwork by taking like their equipment checks, their different maintenance checks, QA checks, those sort of things, and taking them from paper and making them digital. So that not only reduces the paperwork and saves the trees, but that also is going to make that data immediately available to the people that need it. So once they do that check, that's immediately available for the supervisor or for the QA person or whoever's trying to get to it. Improved accuracy of labor and machine clockings to the ERP system. So before, the operator would have to manually or go to the ERP system and clock in, and then they'd have to switch their clocking when they changed which order they're working on. With the MES system that we put in, they were able to just sign themselves into the system, and then as the system changed shop orders, or as the system went up and down for downtime or different reason codes, they were able to send that to the ERP directly. So lot of reduced labor on their part there. Streamline communication between plant areas and area leads. So not all of these areas are close to each other, but they all rely on each other. So the milling and batching needs to feed the extrusion. The extrusion operator needs to know when the next load of feed is going to be there, and the mill operator needs to know which one the extruder operator needs next. We can show that all to them on a dashboard so they have it readily accessible, and they only need to make phone calls in edge cases or in upset conditions. And gave operations team access to valuable data when and where they needed it. So it kind of didn't matter what it was. If it was inventory from the ERP system that they needed to know what the current status of, we could put that up on a TV. If they needed to know what the status of a machine was downstream or upstream, we could show that to them. The ad hoc trends, like I mentioned, where they wanted to go in and do some troubleshooting, that was all available to them.